School in Thaba Nchu. The school is one of the marking centers in the province. Markers had to find cover when the storm wreaked havoc in Thaba Nchu yesterday. The roof of the school's hall, a classroom, a block of toilets and old staff room building were damaged. Now let's get an update. We are joined via Zoom by Dr. Mafu Rakometsi, Umalusi CEO. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, and a very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to our viewers.
Now, you visited as Umalusi the marking center in Thaba Nchu. Talk to us about how bad the damage at the school is, and I'm sure it really has painted a picture in terms of, just how well structured some of these facilities are in terms of the people that are supposed to be marking for this exam.
I need to indicate that this morning I drove to Thaba Nchu Albert Moroka High School with the head of the Free State Department of Education, Advocate Malakwani, and Dr. Rufus Poli of the Department of Education, and Mr. Elijah Mhlanga. And what we found there was very traumatic. The metal sheets had been flown over a radius of about 200 meters. The poles are mangled, and the ceiling of the hall where the markers were marking is perforated by hail. So the situation there was very traumatic, and we could have seen the worst. We are grateful that lives have been saved and the scripts of the learners have been saved.
Now, it is obviously a relief that nobody was, injured, as you rightfully say. But does this also just highlight how paramount the safety of these markers is, particularly because there were also concerns that were raised that some of them are also not housed in adequate, B&Bs and hotels, etc. As Umalusi, what can you do in this regard in terms of just the facilities where they are actually marking in, and also where they are housed?
The facilities where this marking was happening is adequate. Mm-hmm. Things were very adequate. The hall is an infrastructure that is state of the art. And the hostels were able to visit. They are also in a good state. What has happened here is that the school was in the eye of the storm and was exposed because there are no other buildings around. There are no trees around. So evidently, there was a huge storm, and that storm was bound to cause some destruction. It is an act of nature. It is something that nobody has control over.
Out of bounds, for those markers to complete marking. Now, will this in any way impact the release of the matric results?
The situation that we have experienced in Thaba Nchu was devastating. I want to thank the markers that were marking there, for the trauma that they've experienced, and for them having gone out of their way to save and salvage all the scripts. They have salvaged all the scripts, and they've now been relocated to Bloemfontein at a school called Louis Botha HTS. And I've just addressed them now. They are in the process of marking as we speak. So marking will happen as scheduled, and the results of the letters of the Free State will be released as planned.
Now, initial reports suggest that some of the scripts had been damaged in the hail. I hear you saying that you managed to salvage some. So can you confirm that for us, if it is true, and what is going to happen in terms of, I know you're saying that, that learners from the Free State itself will not be disadvantaged by the damage, of some of these papers. At the moment, we know that it's accounting and the business studies paper 2 scripts. So can you confirm today that everything has been salvaged?
I want to give the following confirmations. Accounting scripts have all been salvaged. They are not damaged at all. And business studies, papers, 147 papers are in the process of being sorted. They have experienced some damages, 147 scripts only, to some varying degrees. But there is something that can be salvaged out of the 147 scripts. Only 2 scripts in the business studies group have been destroyed.
So, Dr. Rakometsi, can you just give us a national picture in terms of where we're at now in terms of just the marking, and are you on track? Of course, this incident in the Free State has quite put a dampener on things and probably slowed down that province quite significantly. But give us a national picture in terms of where we are at the moment.
Things are progressing very well nationally. With regard to marking, we don't have any problems. Even in the Free State, where we experienced the storm, the delay was only for 1 day, so that the markers then had to be relocated from Thaba Nchu to Bloemfontein, which is about 70 kilometers from Thaba Nchu. And marking is continuous, so that the time lost is only 1 day.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, Dr. Rakometsi. We really do appreciate it. That was the CEO of Umalusi, just giving us an update there following that storm in Thaba Nchu in the Free State. All right, we'll continue.